Hey guys, my name is Eckrail, and welcome back to another episode of the Team Attack Show. Thank you for tuning in today. Today's episode, we're going to talk about Sonic the Hedgehog and the IPs and games forces on my life and how it's translated into why I like video gaming in general. Now, preface, I had a Nintendo Entertainment System as my technically first console, but I was too young to really get the mechanics on how to play and beat any of the games on it, so I don't really count that as my first official console. My parents got me a Sega Genesis and Sonic 2 bundle way back in 1992 when Sonic 2 did come out. The games were like nothing else I'd ever played. The games are colorful, the games were fast, the music was fantastic, and Sega rode that edge of edginess. They wanted to, their slogan back then was Sega does what Nintendo don't. They had the flashier games, the edgier games, the music was more in your face. The whole system was supposed to be just a supreme edgelord case. It did very well in that aspect. In the end, though, they didn't really outsell Nintendo by any margin, but they were able to get a few characters, mainly one character, to shine bright above a lot of other games, and that was Sonic. He was a little blue hedgehog who went fast. You didn't have to worry about platforming or grabbing items or anything that Mario did. You just went at the speed of sound, going fast, jumping on things, making sure you didn't fall off, but just the power of that system to process the levels so fast. You were literally going so fast, sometimes the level had to catch up with you. I have been playing Sonic for as long as I remember, and there have been good games and there have been bad games. The bad games we remember a little bit more than the good games, but that's how life is. There are going to be gems and there are going to be pieces of poo in the game's history. So I said my first game, Sonic-wise, was Sonic 2. I loved that game. The music was fantastic. Every zone had 2 acts, different ways you could play the level, and then you fight a boss at the end. It was very simple mechanics. Sonic would jump, you'd kill enemies, you free little animals that were taken away by Dr. Eggman, and you just tried to beat him. That was it. As the games went on, Eggman did stuff that was more and more ridiculous. They had to up the ante somehow. Now you notice I didn't play Sonic 1 first. I went back and played Sonic 1 after I had finished Sonic 2, and the game wasn't as good. You couldn't spin dash. It was, even though the game only came out a year before, it was like so inferior to Sonic 2. But that's where Sonic began, for me on the Genesis. Today's Sunday, just so you guys know, I went to a convention near me called Too Many Games. Sonic focused. There are a whole bunch of industry people who were voice actors and had things to do with Sonic the Hedgehog, and I saw so many Sonic fans just being appreciative of fan projects and just how cool it was to be a Sonic fan. There's a different mentality and fervor compared to people who like Mario. Like, Mario's the godfather character of gaming. Like, you can't really think of gaming without Super Mario Brothers, which, that's fine. Sonic, in his own right, he went through a period of like really shitty games like Sonic 06 and Sonic Adventure 1 and 2. Yes, those games were good when they came out, but they did not age well at all, and playing them again, it just made me realize that they could have been so much better. But we like them because they're bad. Like, I have a special connection with Sonic. I am so glad that Sonic was a thing, only because, I don't know, I was able to relate to different things. That doesn't make sense when I say it, but if you go to Sonic Adventure, I was able to kind of live through my black side when playing Knuckles. So all of his songs were like hip-hop focused in Sonic Adventure 1 and 2. Everybody had their own motif. Knuckles didn't really act black per se, but whenever you played Knuckles, I was like, yo, this shit goes hard. And I wouldn't have been able to get that type of stuff without Sonic being a thing. Even if you go all the way back to Sonic 3, where Knuckles was debuted, he was an idiot echidna who was strong, could punch boulders, could dig, could glide, and do all this crazy shit that Sonic couldn't do. And he was very gullible. Thought Sonic was the bad guy. And even once Knuckles came onto the screen, you got some hip-hop. I was like, yo, what's all this bass? Sega games are known for some of the greatest music. Even though the music potential wasn't as good as Super Nintendo, there are just so many classic jams in the Sonic series. So you can have the game be absolute shit, but I feel like Sonic just has some of the best music. The best music. You have Planet Wisp. You have anything from Sonic CD. You have the Sonic 3 soundtrack. You got His World from Sonic 06, even though that game was bad. And it's just, Sega continues to try new things with Sonic. Sometimes it doesn't work all that good. It's still there to try new things. I'm so excited for Mania. I'm so excited for Sonic Forces. I don't care whether you like classic Sonic or modern Sonic. And let's actually talk about that for a little bit. There seems to be some divide between which Sonic is better or which Sonic people prefer. It doesn't really matter. The last Sonic game for me that was really, really good was Sonic Generations. It came out in 05. And for a while we had to deal with, Sonic 4 and all the episodes and all that DLC. And there hasn't been a Sonic game since Sonic 3 and Knuckles that properly captured the aspect of 2D Sonic gaming, because that's the type of gaming that got Sonic to where he was. Then we dealt with modern Sonic way back in '99 with Sonic Adventure, and I feel like the perfect iteration of modern Sonic, where Sonic goes really fast and you hold up a lot of the time with very minimal platforming, was probably Unleashed. Yeah, Unleashed was like, alright, this is the standard for modern Sonic, and it's been that way ever since. And we're probably going to see more of that in Forces, which is fine. But Generations took the feel and look. They were able to make classic Sonic 3D and still feel tight and responsive. And I was like, they should just make another Generations. And that's essentially what Forces is going to be, I guess. They'll have a different story. None of the Sonics are connected, but that's all they had to do. I would have played Generations a lot more if they had more DLC content on the classic remixed old school stages. Anyway, I'm kind of digressing. It's exciting to be a Sonic fan. I'm not as intense as some other people that I know, but I'm glad that the character that I grew up with and is pretty much responsible for me playing video games in the first place is still relevant and is still trying to make waves with new stuff. Not to say that other IPs like Mario and all that stuff I haven't tried, but something just cool about Sonic, whether it's him going fast or him liking chili dogs and me making me want to try chili dogs, or his red shoes, or any one of his friends, whether it be Tails, Knuckles, Shadow, Big the Cat, Cream Cheese, the plethora of Sonic characters. I'm glad that it's there, and I'm glad that Sonic is continuing to be cool and try new shit. And whether that shit works or doesn't work, I think finally they're at the point where they're going to be able to satisfy both bases, classic fans and modern fans, because not everybody grew up in the early 90s. There are people who start out with modern Sonic and they play classic and they're like, what is this garbage? It's so slow, it's so basic. And I'm like, dude, that's Sonic is the way he is because of that type of gameplay, and the inverse is true too. So I'm excited for both these game releases. I cannot wait. I'm just glad that Sonic is a thing, and I hope it never goes away for as long as I'm alive. And if you're a Sonic fan, I hope that you can find some solace in this video. You feel the same way that I do. If you don't, let me know in the comments. I mean, tell me any other game that has drowning music that makes you so anxious that it makes you like actually move. There was nothing like that in any other platformer that I played back in the day. You heard that music, you fucking booked it. You want to find the surface as soon as possible. And to this day, there's no comparison. So whether your favorite game is a classic game or a modern game, whether it's Sonic 06, whether you like Sonic Adventure, whether you like Sonic Advance, or any of the other iterations of Sonic, Sonic fans unite. I'm glad that we're still in there. Sonic is still in there, and he's not going away. Anyway, thanks for listening to me blabble about this blue dude. Next episode will hopefully not be 2 weeks. It's just I want to come up with topics that I want to gauge appropriate discussion. I don't. Sometimes I'll ramble, and but I want something a little bit more cohesive next time, and then actually talk about stuff. Expect more videos about current events to fill in the gap between videos. But if you made it this far, thank you very much for watching. I appreciate it, and I'll see you on the next episode. Make sure you follow all social media up there, everywhere. So follow your boy, and I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching. Good night, or day, whatever. Peace.